From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Ryan Aber, OU beat writer. Ryan, we're knee-deep in 2019, but we're already looking to 2020. That's because the schedule has been released as we sit here just kind of starting to digest it. But obviously the big one is Bedlam. It is set for October, and haven't seen a lot of October Bedlams in the last few years.
No, it's been a long time. And matter of fact, the last time Bedlam wasn't in November or December was 2004, so it's been a while, but the last time this game was this early, October 24th, was in 1998 when it was the same date. So a lot's changed, obviously, since then. Going to be a little bit different look for the schedule, which is something that had been talked about a little bit the last couple of years as the Big 12 championship game was reintroduced. They had talked about moving Bedlam off of that final weekend, but to see it this early is a little bit different for sure.
Well, obviously the non-conference games, people want to talk about that. Missouri State, Tennessee, and Army, the first two coming in Norman, having Rocky Top back in Norman. But then that Army game is at West Point, and that's a game that, you know, we saw Army come to Oklahoma a couple years ago, but then some stadium renovations. That game it wasn't a year to year. There was a little break, and that one's going to be at West Point. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is. I think the good thing for the Sooners that they've got a week off before that. The bye week falls right before Army. When you're preparing for a team that's so different from everybody else you face, like Army will be, I think that'll be a positive for the Sooners. But after that, they've got this stretch of games that's just back to back to back. There's not a whole lot of let up from that Army point on. Well,
and you say there's the back-to-back nature. It's not just that, Ryan. It's Baylor, it's Texas, it's Iowa State, it's Oklahoma State. I mean, 4 teams right there that most people would say are probably going to be, you know, at or near the top of the preseason rankings next year with Oklahoma. That's 4 very important games for Oklahoma right there.
Yeah, you know, we talked this year about how important November is for the Sooners because of playing Baylor, playing Iowa State, and then obviously finishing the regular season with Bedlam against Oklahoma State. Next year it's going to be October. That stretch is really tough with, like you said, Baylor at home, Texas at Iowa State, and then Bedlam at home to close, or not to close the month, because at TCU there to end. Although you anticipate TCU would be much better next year, given Gary Patterson's track record. So October going to be a little bit of a bear for the Sooners with a new quarterback.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be much time to get settled in, like there was this year a little bit with Jalen Hurts.
Lastly, non-Saturday games, none on the schedule, at least
for now.
At this point. You know, obviously that Sunday matchup to start the year, that really went well. I think Oklahoma fans liked having a night game that they could dictate, but there's not the marquee matchup there with Missouri State. Do you see that as a possible move?
I mean, I think it works so well this year that if you can convince a network that it'd be a good move. Although, well, I take that back. The Missouri State game is going to be one that they can dictate. So if they want to move it, because that's going to be their, it's almost assuredly going to be a pay-per-view game.
Right.
Then if they want to move it, Oklahoma will be able to move it. Now, the good thing is for Oklahoma, because it's that pay-per-view game, they can play that at 6:30 or 7. And not have to worry about the network's dictates on when it was. Yeah. My guess is that game will probably stay on Saturday and be a Saturday night game because of that. But I think where there's opportunities to do it, you're going to see Oklahoma want to move to a Sunday night game in order to avoid what has become the marquee matchup of 11 a.m. And so many times in the Big 12, as Barry Trammell wrote last week, when there's not a big-time showdown in the Big 12, OU is the marquee matchup regardless of who they play.
Well, we'll see if any of these move at all, but as of right now, all Saturdays, lots to digest for 2020. We'll continue, obviously, to cover 2019. Still a lot to go with that. So be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.